Hey everyone, it's Dev, and you're listening to Pop Culture Ketchup, a Millennials podcast. Oh my goodness gracious, wow. It has been the longest time since I have spoken, since I have talked to you all. I took a week off and it felt like I've been gone for like literally a year. Like I had 4 episodes pre-recorded, I think. So basically I haven't even recorded a podcast in a month. But oh my gosh, it's been a while. But let me update you on everything that's happening. Hold on. Everything that's happened in the last, week? So, okay, the reason why I took off last week was because it was election day. It was Tuesday was, oh my God. It was election day on Tuesday. So I didn't pre-record anything because my dad's birthday was the week before, and then the week before that was my brother's birthday. So I had 2 weeks of birthdays and of traveling back and forth to my parents' house and stuff. And then so I didn't have time. And then I was going to record the web series episode, and I was like, I'm not feeling it because I don't know. It's just the time change happened that weekend. It was Halloween. I had, there was stuff to do. There was life to live. There was home to be sat. There was a couch to be used. There was a kitchen to be eaten from. Like, I had all of this stuff to do. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to take it off because I know Tuesday's going to be draining. So I'm not going to record because I didn't have time. I wasn't going to record on Tuesday morning and then just put it out. No, I'm not going to do that. So, because I knew I was already going to be tired from everything with my brain. So, Tuesday happened, and then the results from the election didn't happen. So, I was like, okay, Wednesday, well, the results didn't happen. So, obviously, I didn't have anything recorded on Thursday for the web series. So, I was like, I'm just going to take this week off because it seems like it's going to take a long time. And obviously, it did because we found out the election results on Saturday. And I'm happy. I'm pleased. All this work I did on telling people to vote. And, honestly, no. I was going to say I don't care who you voted for, as long as you voted. I used to say that, like I said that this past month. I was like, I don't care who you vote for as long as you vote, because I want to encourage people to vote. So people won't complain that, oh, things aren't going my way or the way that I want to. Well, if you voted, you have the right to complain. If you didn't vote and you are able to vote, then you don't have a right to complain. But now, because I've had people I've had people talk to me, and I've seen people post and stuff, and it makes sense. Like, why? Okay. I'm glad that people voted, but if you voted for someone who was already in office and you voted for them again, that is showing me the type of person you are. Even if it's like, oh, it's for economic reasons. I don't care. I don't care if it's for economic reasons or whatever. Like, you know what he did. You know what he's done. And if you're voting for him again, I don't like that. And why would I want you in my life like that? So I've seen people post on Instagram around, like, not now, but like up to the election, of like their opinions and stuff like that. And first of all, I unfollowed them. And if they were following me, I made sure that they weren't following me back. So like I unfollowed them, and then there was the option to have them unfollow you, and I had them unfollow me. And then to me, it doesn't matter anymore. I used to think of like, you know what? It's just a difference that we have. It's fine. No, like that is showing me your character. That's showing me what you value. And obviously, we don't have the same values. So why do I want you in my life? And then for those people that I unfollow, honestly, it doesn't hurt me that much because we just followed each other on it. Like we knew each other in real life, but we just followed each other on Instagram. And after I graduated high school or after I graduated college, like we don't talk anymore. So I really don't care. So I basically probably in the last month unfollowed like 15 people because they posted about a person, supporting a person and not having the same values. And then I also, even for people, this is kind of, I don't know, you could judge me all you want, but I care but don't care. Even if for people that I was suspecting, because I didn't know their views, even if I was suspecting, like, they didn't really, well, everybody has brands, right? But like they didn't really post for certain causes. They didn't post against certain causes either. But then I would go just to see, I would go into their Instagram and their followers list and see who they followed. Like which candidates were you following? And then that I also made a decision there too. I was like, oh, okay, you're following this person. You're not saying anything about it, but you're following this person. So you're me making an assumption you're probably undercover about it. But yeah, so I've been doing that, and overall I am happy, I'm pleased. I know, well, I told somebody this is like, I know Biden and our new black and also Indian Kamala Harris, vice president, woman. Yes, I know that they aren't the best candidates to have, or sorry, they won. I know that they're not the best people to have in office, but they are a step in the correct direction. And then also, there's some. I want to get into our topic, but I just want to talk about this real quick. There's also a stigma and a negative connotation for opposing parties like Democrat and Republican. What I've noticed, like correct me if I'm wrong, but before the Obama days, Republicans and Democrats, they didn't have beef. I would say they didn't have beef. Like all the races were still undercover, right? Like Republicans and Democrats didn't have beef necessarily. It was like, oh, you're Republican, oh, you're Democrat. We just have different views, and that's fine. Let's still go to Chuck E. Cheese. Like it's chill. We're good. But when Obama was elected, that's when things took a turn of like, oh, there are racists. People are racist. There are racists happening, and well, you know, we have different views, but I also see your race, and I don't want you here. Like that's what happened in Obama days. Like that's when the split, in my opinion, well, from growing up, like 2008 is, I was 13, so me watching these things, that's when I noticed there was a divide between political parties. There was already a divide between people, but divide between political parties was once Obama was elected, because people didn't like a black man in office, and they had opposing views. So it's like, oh, well, me being a like this is for certain groups of people. Certain groups of people are like, oh, I'm Republican and I don't have the same views as him. I'm not going to vote for Obama. Fine. Then there are people that are, oh, I'm not going to vote for Obama because he's black. I'm just like, okay, nah. And then I don't want, this is, you know what? Call me out if I'm wrong, but not all Republicans, okay, listen carefully, not all Republicans, but most people who are racist are Republican. That's how I feel. Like, from my experience, from people that I know, from people that I've seen, from people that have made comments, it's you are most likely very conservative on the Republican side, and you're racist. Like, for I don't know. And then I saw a bigger split with the Trump. Let me be nice. The Trump, his little 4 years old. Yeah, with him. His 4 years. So with Trump, it was more like, hey, I think I'm better than you. And then people are also like, you're not better than us. We're just trying to make the world better. Well, that doesn't affect me, so I'm still better than you, blah, blah, blah. And that made a bigger shift between Republicans and Democrats. And I think, like, honestly, before, and I still, actually right now, because there are some Republicans who voted for Biden because they really didn't want Trump in office anymore. But for me, my opinion is, like, as of right now, because Biden is the president-elect, if you are Democrat, we cool. I see you. We family. If you are Republican, we would have to have a conversation first before I say, hey, I see you. Because I'm going to say this. My opinion, if you are Republican, a question that I might ask or try to be observant about is, did you vote for Trump in 2016? If yes, okay, I'm judging you a little bit based off of his character in his campaign. I'm not basing you off, I'm not calling you racist or anything, but I'm just judging you a little bit because of what he said about women and just people of color, those things. Then if you say you're Republican, you voted for Trump in 2016, then you voted for Trump in 2020, I have an issue with you. And if you try to, like, be my friend, if you're my friend, if you try to be my friend, whatever, we are on different levels. Like, I can't be associated with you because of the fact you voted for him for 2016. Okay, that's fine. You didn't want, I don't know. It's fine. Okay, I give you that. Then you saw what he's done and said, and you're still okay with that, and you voted for him again. That, I would say, like, do you not realize what you're doing? Like, that's telling everybody, or that is telling people who you are. And even if you're like, I'm not racist, but you're complicit with racism. Like, I had a friend that I cut out of my life a couple weeks ago, actually, after the third debate, like literally seconds after the third debate, because I was talking about, or no, the second one, sorry. Was it the second or the third? It's one of them. The one about the denouncing racism one. Maybe it was the first one. I don't know. But I was talking to him and he was like, yeah, he was joking, but he was joking about it. He was like, I was like, oh my God, Trump is like, that's something easy to say, like, denounce racism or white supremacists, like, say they're bad. And he didn't really do that, right? And he was like, well, yeah, Trump is a big racist, ha ha ha. And I was like, well, like, yeah, he is. And then he was talking about, like, he didn't say whether or not he was voting for him, but he was just like, well, he's not as bad as you think. And I'm like, well, the things that he said and he's done. And then he was like, and then I said, the people who vote for him, I'm not calling them racist. They're either racist or complicit with racism. And then he said, so if I voted for him, you would call me racist? And I'm like, no. He's like, I'm not racist. I'm like, okay, you're not racist, but you're complicit with racism. And then I said, if you're complicit, if you're racist or complicit with racism, I can feel that you won't protect me. You won't have, my side. And that's not somebody I want in my life. And he's like, oh, okay. And goodbye then. And I was like, okay, well, bye. And then we didn't text for like 30 minutes. And then he texted me back. He's like, I'm not racist though. And I'm like, but you're complicit with racism. And I just restated my thing. I was like, hey, if I didn't call you racist, but if you are voting for Trump, you are complicit with racism. You're either racist or complicit with racism. There's no, you can't be an ally for people or an advocate for those people of color that voted for Trump. You can't be an ally for people of color and vote for Trump based off of what he's done. In 2016, people didn't know better. A lot of people, 74 million people this time around knew better, but back then people didn't know better. They thought he was just this reality star who was kind of wild, kind of funny, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then now, every day it's something. Sorry, I don't want to say every day. Every other day it's something going on with him. And really, you want to vote for him again? So I've cut those people out of my life. I'm not even getting, oh my God, okay. Before I continue, I have to introduce myself. What if someone just came in here not knowing who I am on this podcast, spent 17 minutes and does not know who I am? Hi, it's Dev and welcome to Pop Culture Ketchup, a Millennials podcast where we talk about all things pop culture. It's Pop Culture Ketchup like the condiment, not actually catching up. If you are still tuning in on 17 minutes and 38 seconds of this wonderful podcast you found on YouTube, you can follow me at itsdev, ITSDEVVV on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitch at RunDevDev, RUNDEVDEV. You can follow my Facebook page at Pop Culture Ketchup like the condiment, not actually catching up. I am so sorry for not introducing myself. I just started talking. I haven't filmed or recorded one of these in like a month. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I just want to, regurgitate all of these thoughts that I have in my head about this election. I feel I'm going to stop talking about the Republican versus Democrat debate. Because, if you know, like people who live in the United States, you know that the divide is there, and there's an opportunity right now for us to combine, unite, and unify with one another. But my thoughts right now are, as soon as the president-elect was announced, I felt this just, like, I couldn't sleep from Tuesday until Friday. On Saturday morning, it was raining, it was pouring. I was like, I woke up to pouring rain, and I woke up to a text, and I woke up to a phone call, and I just checked the news. I'm just watching it, and I just feel this weight release, like the pressure, a smile on my face. I just felt like, okay, everything's gonna be okay right now. Like I felt that everything was gonna be good. I felt like there was an opportunity for people to go back to living their lives and not always having to not always having to respond negatively towards each other. I feel like that's going to happen again, where we're just going to be positive towards one another and like working together, because now for like, I'm going to say for a month, on January 20th, I would say all of January and all of February, 2 months, people who didn't vote for Trump, or sorry, people who voted for Trump are just going to be bitter, sad, whatever, and have attitudes, and all this stuff's going to happen. But then they're going to realize, okay, we still have a white president. That's what they're going to think. He's male. That's what they're going to think. He's white. Again, that's what he's old. Like, that's what they're going to think. And they'll realize, like, wow, there's nothing really. What are we complaining for? We still have a white president. That's what they're gonna. We still have this. At this point, we still have the Senate. Like, they lost seats on the House of Representatives. Like, those type of Trump supporters are just gonna complain about that for like 2 months, and then they're just gonna go back to their normal lives. They're gonna be like, oh wow, I don't have to wear my mask as much because the pandemic's getting better. There's not 125,000 people dying a day anymore. Oh wow, I have a job again. Huh. Whoa, my child who went to a public university, I don't have to pay as much of their loan debt. Healthcare, we have that now. There's an actual plan. Whoa, the earth is getting better. I can breathe because of climate change, and things are looking up. What I'm noticing between both parties is that people are upset at the other party because they're just the other party. They're not thinking about how it's affecting the world and the United States. Like, I have some people that disagree with everything a Democrat says because they are only a Democrat. I have people who dislike and don't even want to hear what a Republican says just because they're a Republican. Like, for me, like I already said it before, it's like, I am okay if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, as long as you have voted and want to vote and choose your voice. If you are able to vote, like, I'm okay with that. We just have to have the same values. So, like, I have friends who are Republican who didn't vote for Trump. Some of them didn't vote at all, which, I don't like, but yeah. So I think my opinion is just, now is the time to give everybody a chance and to make sure we are all putting our best foot forward from now on. Because I think for some people, the Trump supporters, they don't like people of color telling them what to do. And now, first of all, they're going to have to get used to it right now, because they're going to there's a black woman, especially a black woman as vice president, that I'm speaking. You're going to get that a lot. She deserves respect. She will give respect too. So I think for me, again, I am hopeful. And I know it's not going to be the best. There are going to be some things, a lot of things probably, that I don't like. But then I've also realized in my mind, and like seeing through Twitter and stuff, it's like, there are a lot of people, especially right now, are like, yeah, we got Biden, but we still have a lot of work to do. Everybody knows that. We started, how far we fell as the United States these last 4 years. We know we have a lot of work to do. We know we have a lot of ground to make up. We're an embarrassment right now. But let people rejoice. Let people, in a social distance way, let people be happy with what we've got. especially people of color, especially black people. I'm going to talk to black people right now. Like, there's a lot of negativity. Like, okay, I don't even want to talk about race, but I saw this post on TikTok, and yes, TikTok. I saw this post on TikTok about, like, I forget who started it, but it's just this girl was talking in a car, and this black girl was talking in her car, and she was like, as black people, what did we do? And I've thought about that too. Like, as a black person, I'm walking around, and I noticed and have had people talk to me like, this is just a generalization. White people don't like us. Latino, Hispanic people don't like us. I'm talking about black people. Asian people don't like us. East Asian people don't like us. Like, what did we do as for people of color that aren't black? What did black people do for you to dislike us? Like, that is something that I've thought about a lot. Now I'm getting into race. I was just talking about the election, but now I'm getting to race. Like, that in order to unite as the United States, like, that's what some people have to get over. It's like, it's that notion of black people built this country. Like, sorry, black people built on this country of stolen land. Like, Native Americans were here. Latinos were here. Sorry, Mexicans were here. From Mexico, I believe. I don't want to say Latinos because I want to give them their props. And then we came here. We were taken and put here. We had to learn how to survive. Is that it? Like, is that why people of color do not like, I don't want to say all, but as a generalization, people of color do not like black people? Is it because we survived? Is it because we were brought here and we survived and made things our own? Is it because we weren't complicit to the things that were happening to us? Is it okay that we weren't okay with being whipped, chained, lynched? Is it okay that we weren't okay? Is it not okay? Sorry. Is it not okay that we weren't okay with seeing someone that we loved who was a white woman and we tried to act on that love, but we were blamed and then we ended up being killed? Is it okay that is this okay? Like, is this why you dislike us? Because we weren't okay with being not a person to white people? Is the reason because we had to have segregated areas? Is the reason because we weren't allowed to have education? Is that why, as a generalization, you don't like black people? People of color, some of you? Because I know some people, and I know your family. Your family doesn't like us either. You might like us, but your family doesn't. Is it because we sit in a car, we're driving, not doing anything, and we get pulled over? We ask, why are we being pulled over? Then someone has an attitude with us, and then we don't want to be disrespected. We might have an attitude back, but then we end up dying for it. Is that why you don't like us, people of color, some of you? Is it because we try and march for freedom? Is it because we may have resistance to all of these years, decades of things that are happening. Because I don't want to say, please don't come for me for this, but in my opinion, like, I feel black people know the struggle that other people of color are going through, because we are going through it too. We don't know everything that you're going through, but we as a race, as a culture, know what you're going through, so we understand. And I feel like we are here for you, and we hear you as well. But then it's not reciprocated for black people. Like, I have some friends, their family are tolerant of black people. But why is that? Like, what did we do? Because we know why white people don't like us. We know that. But why do people of color not like us either? That's something that I pondered about recently. That TikTok actually made me tear up, because I'm like, I don't know the answer. I don't know why certain communities, actually virtually every community, doesn't like us. For what reason though? And then that's what we have to think about when January 20th, 25th happens. We have to figure out a way to unite each other, because we already know that, I'm not even talking about white people right now. I'm talking about Trump supporters, because that's a whole nother culture. Trump supporters are already going to be going wild. We already know that. And it starts with young people, I think, because I've noticed through protests, I've noticed through marches, I've noticed through social media blasts, I've noticed through these things, there's a lot of mixes of cultures, including white people, mixes of cultures that are protesting against these things, advocating for situations, fighting for people's rights, LGBT rights, all of these rights, women's rights, people of color, for, all these things. And and I see virtually every race supporting through the young people. And I think, for those that are still with me, I think the young people, I would consider myself young, even though my birthday's in like a week. I feel that young people have the time to make a change. And it started with AOC, and it didn't start with AOC, but AOC is making her movement in, I think the Senate, yeah. She's doing her thing. Senator. But the older generations are the ones that are stuck in their ways. And we already know that they're a lost cause. But for young people, it is our opportunity to make a way for ourselves. Because the people that I'm talking to right now, you're in 10 years, say there's 2 runs, because I know he said he was only going to do 1. But say there's 2 runs of Biden. You're going to be almost 40. You're going to be a little bit younger, like 5-10 years younger than the generation that's making all this noise now, it's stuck in their ways. You're going to be them in 10 years. Some of you a little bit less than that, sorry. But it's crazy that take these 10 years to try and make a change for yourself, Try and make a change about the people around you. Try and make a change for the world. Your views, if they're negative, the more negative you are, the quicker you age and die. Honestly. I'm an optimistic person, but I'm not a naive person. I know what's going on, but I am choosing to see the better end of it. These last 4 years, it was hard. It was hard to find a better end, but I found it through the people that were speaking up for those voices that were lost. Speaking up for those voices that were overpowered. Speaking up for those voices that were unborn. Speaking up for those voices that were born. Speaking up for those voices that their identity hindered jobs they can get, people that they love, opportunities given to them. Now is the time for this change. And you could take it for what you will. I'm just speaking my mind, speaking my truth. But I'm going to leave you with this. Because I wanted to talk about, maybe I'll talk about it next week, but I wanted to talk about 5 places I'll go after quarantine. But I want to leave you with this. The way that you're acting now would you be okay with your 5-year-old self acting that way and having those opinions? What I mean is, your values that you have right now, they were taught to you. You learned them. Would you want your 5-year-old self to have these same views about people? These same values that you have now? For some of you, it might be a hell yeah. For some of you, it might be like, dang, I need to change the way I think. Because 5-year-olds are observant and they retain this information. So just watch what you say, watch what you do. Improve on yourself, grow, learn. For me, I've learned a lot this year. I took the time for things that I didn't know. I did research about them. I wasn't perfect research. I can't recite to you what I learned. But I did the research, gave my opinion on it after I did my research. So take that for what you will, but think about it again. With the values and opinions on people you have now, would you have been okay with that at 5 years old? Would you have wanted to be that way at 5 years old? This was a rough episode. This is not how I wanted it to go, but I just need to get that off my chest. So I hope you are having a great rest of your week. My birthday's on November 24th, so send me happy birthdays then. Have a good week. Check in with me. Check in with other people. Because I do want to talk to you all and have conversations. So if you like this podcast episode, give it a like. If you want to hear more podcast things, check out my previous episodes or subscribe. It is free. My goal is to get to 75 subscribers. I'm at 64, 75 by the end of the year. If you want to see me on my journey, check out my Twitter and my Instagram at itsdev, ITSDEVVV. If you want to follow this Facebook page where I post my podcast episodes at Pop Culture Ketchup like the condiment, not actually catching up. If you want to check out my gaming, because I am trying that now, on Twitch, follow it at RunDevDev, RUNDEVDEV. But take the time to reflect this week. You have until January to determine whether or not you want to lead the life that you're living now, or if you want to change it for the better. Take that time. Have a great week, and I'll catch you on the next one.